If you're a CEO or CTO watching your software budgets just absolutely balloon while your development output seems to stagnate, well, this explainer is definitely for you. Today, we're diving deep into how you can actually optimize your development return on investment. The goal here is urgent, but honestly, it's beautifully simple. We want to aggressively cut waste without sacrificing your capability or the ultimate quality of your product. The real secret here isn't cutting costs, it's cutting waste. To make that happen, we're going to cover 5 critical areas today. 1. Validate first and build an MVP. 2. Lock requirements and kill scope creep. 3. Strategic outsourcing and team structure. 4. Automate QA and deploy DevOps. And 5. Optimize tech stack and cloud costs. Okay, let's start right at the foundation. Section 1. Validate first and build an MVP. Get this. According to McKinsey data, a staggering 66% of large-scale enterprise projects go over budget, and a third are delayed. Why? Well, largely because they completely skip early validation. Building software without validating the core idea first with real users is literally one of the fastest ways to waste millions of dollars. You just end up building all these complex features that nobody actually wants or needs. The solution, of course, is a minimum viable product, but with an enterprise twist. Now, unlike a startup that's desperately searching for product-market fit with external customers, your goal with an enterprise MVP is usually securing stakeholder buy-in and testing scalability with internal users, all without blowing your very predictable budget on day one. It has to be scalable, for sure, but it strictly restricts its scope to only the absolutely essential features to minimize early complexity. Moving right along into the planning phase. Section 2. Lock requirements and kill scope creep. Scope creep. We've all been there, right? It's the silent budget killer. It's that infamous, hey, can we just add this one more feature request that totally bypasses proper evaluation? When your requirements aren't locked in early, this massive loss of focus just bleeds your budget dry. It stretches timelines out to infinity and forces your team to take on huge amounts of technical debt just to shove half-baked features out the door. Consider this insight from the IBM Systems Sciences Institute. Honestly, this should probably be printed on every CTO's wall. Fixing a defect after a product is released can cost up to 100 times more than catching it during the design phase. 100 times! A feature that has to be built twice because the first version didn't actually match the intended scope, that costs double the time for 0 additional output. Building it right the first time isn't just a best practice, it is literal financial survival. You absolutely have to lock those requirements down. Next up, we hit the execution phase. Section 3. Strategic outsourcing and team structure. Optimizing exactly who builds your software can make a massive difference. Strategic outsourcing can yield incredible savings. We're talking 50 to 65% in direct developer costs. But listen, this is definitely not a race to the bottom for the absolute cheapest hourly rate you can find. Cheap code just means expensive rework later. This is really about accessing top-tier, pre-vetted global talent in regions that just have fundamentally different economic benchmarks. The math is pretty undeniable when you map it out. Replacing 3 local contractors with a dedicated offshore team can drop your monthly spend from nearly $43,000 down to under $17,000. That is immediate, totally predictable savings every single month, all while keeping the agile, cross-functional collaboration your software projects demand. Sticking with the technical side of execution, Section 4, Automate QA and deploy DevOps. Let's be real, manual testing isn't just slow, it's absolutely soul-crushing for your development team, and it's practically begging for human error. But by fully automating your CI/CD pipeline, that's continuous integration, automated testing, and seamless deployment, you completely eliminate those bottlenecks. You're suddenly freeing up your developers to actually innovate and do high-value strategic work instead of just endlessly hunting for bugs. Plus, those automated tests catch all those really expensive issues super early in the process. And finally, we get to the infrastructure phase. Section 5, Optimize tech stack and cloud costs. This is a big one, because if you ignore cloud optimization, it's just going to invisibly compound your expenses for years. If your cloud environment is permanently sized for peak load, but it just sits at 10% utilization for most of the month, you are literally setting money on fire. You've got to right-size those cloud instances, implement auto-scaling to match your real-time demand, and aggressively use open-source software to dodge heavy licensing fees. And honestly, you need to be auditing these environments regularly for unused resources to catch tool sprawl and avoid nasty vendor lock-in. So as we wrap up, I really want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on regarding all that hidden waste sitting in your current sprint cycles. Take a hard look at your budget right now and ask yourself, are you paying for capability or are you just paying for rework? Are you funding actual needle-moving innovation or are you just funding poor planning, bloated project scopes, and a bunch of unused cloud servers? It's time to take action. Evaluate your current spending against these 5 strategies we've talked about. Audit your requirements process, take a really critical look at your tech stack, and strongly consider the massive efficiencies you can get from strategic outsourcing. Restructure your resources today so you can deliver way more value at a fraction of the cost. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and here is to building better software a whole lot smarter.